Hello, everybody. Today we have a special guest. Her name is Ester Klug. And actually, I met Esther about 3 or 4 months ago over in Oregon. She was doing interpreting with me, and it was a pleasure. And she told me a little bit about herself, and she has a very interesting life. So I guess, are you ready, Esther?
I'm ready.
Okay. First, can you give us your name first?
Okay. Um, since you mentioned that we might discuss the book I wrote 50 years ago, my
Yes.
name then was Esther Linda Mendoza Malagar. Now I
Okay.
am Esther Linda Mendoza Klug.
Okay. And can I ask you how old you are?
Oh, do I have to say that?
Oh, you don't have to. It's just so just people
Okay,
will know. But
I'm way past senior. Okay,
okay,
can
way
you
past
imagine?
senior.
I
Are
was uh,
are you in
I
your
was doing
60s
my
then?
thesis 50 years ago.
Okay. Okay. And where do you live right now?
I live in Maryland,
Okay.
specifically in the area of Baltimore, Maryland.
Okay. And where were you born?
I was born in Ozamiz City, Philippines. That is
Okay.
in
So
Mindanao.
okay, and that's in the island of Mindanao,
Mm.
right? Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about your childhood? So, leading
Well,
up
my
to
father is from Bulacan, so
okay.
he speaks Tagalog, and my mother, who doesn't speak Tagalog well, speaks to us in Cebuano. So
Oh,
I grew up with
mhm.
a bilingual parent.
How did they? I'm
Parent.
just curious. How did they meet? Did your
Oh,
father
my
go to
father
Mindanao?
um, was finished his uh, teaching degree in Philippine Normal College in Bulacan in Manila.
Okay.
Then he went to a trade school, and then he has one of his uncles, I think, was supervisor or superintendent in the Department of Education in Mindanao in Ozamiz, and
Okay.
so he decided to venture to Mindanao in Ozamiz.
Okay.
So that's where my mother lived.
Okay. So when he went there, that's where he met your mother.
Yes.
Okay. Because kind of my story too. My dad is from Cebu, and my mom's from Tarlac, and they
Oh,
met in Cotabato of all places, and that's where they got married. And they had my brother was born in Cotabato, and then they moved to Cebu. So it's Luzon and Visayas.
so we are like here in America, we're like called army brats.
Yes.
We move from one level.
Exactly. Okay, so from there, so your childhood was in Ozamis, and then where did you go to high school?
uh, in Osamis.
Okay.
So we live in Osamis, but my father was very close to his parents and family. He was
Okay.
one of, I think, 9 siblings, the
Wow.
oldest. And so every summer, we spend the whole summer in Bulacan from the time I was born
Hmm.
to many years
Wow.
to my adulthood. And my father was teaching in Immaculate Conception College, a
Okay.
run by the Sisters of Columban Sisters,
Hmm.
and he was teaching Filipino, Tagalog,
Okay.
and so I finished my elementary and high school and college there until
Okay.
I went to Cagayan de Oro, Ateneo de Davao, Xavier
Okay.
University,
I heard
where I
about that school. That's a very prestigious school, especially now.
Mhm.
Everybody talks about the Ateneo in Davao right now. I mean, in
Yes,
Cagayan.
I spent there many years because I started. That's where I started my master's degree, and
Okay.
then I also worked at the same time. I was the executive secretary of the vice president of academic affairs.
Okay. What did you finish? What were you taking for your master's?
But since my undergraduate was Bachelor of Arts, which is the degree for people who don't know what they want when they grow up.
Okay. Liberal arts. Yeah.
So I was taking um,
Liberal arts
my
classes.
major in first nursing. I was scared of blood. I cannot do this. I was
Okay.
taking pre-law. I cannot. Then I said maybe I'll be something else. So I just took literature because I
Okay.
like to read then.
Okay.
So I took Bachelor of Arts major in English and Asian literature.
Oh, wow.
So don't
Okay.
ask
And
me questions about literature. I forgot everything about it.
oh, that's an ongoing thing, I mean, literature is basically very,
Yes.
broad. The important is they make us think, and
Mhm.
make us, so
Exactly.
that's the most important thing. So, so your master's is that's your bachelor, but what about your master's?
So my master's was in Asian literature.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you say Asian literature, you're talking about the Chinese and Japanese and
Yes,
okay.
those. And then actually, I didn't really concentrate on Asian literature. It was just basically English and literature
Okay.
because
Okay.
we do Greek and all those kinds of uh, history,
Okay.
literary
Okay.
history.
So you're basically into history, and that's probably the reason why. Okay, can you tell me a little bit about your book? Because I know you mentioned that to me, and I was actually so proud knowing you because of that.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, I'm talking to an
So,
author here.
well,
So
the
can you
only
can you talk to
significant
us about it?
the only significant thing about my thesis, which is entitled Guman, Guman,
Okay.
the epic of the Subanon in uh, Dumalinao, which is a province or a barrio in Zamboanga del Sur.
Okay.
Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
the Subanon, as you know, is one of the tribes in the
Okay.
Philippines. So
Okay.
we have the Muslim, we have the Subanon, we have the Igorot. So they are considered the quiet and milder. I don't want to say milder temper, but the more uh, quiet type of
Yes.
uh, tribe.
Okay.
So I decided to do that because at that time, nobody else has a record of the Guman.
Okay. Okay.
So
How did you find out about them? I mean, what made you interested in them in the first place? I mean, how did you know
okay,
about this?
because first of all, I live near there,
Okay.
and then I was close to the museum in Xavier,
Okay.
then headed by Father Demetrio, uh,
Okay.
and then so for lack of some of anything else. Also, by the way, when I first went to Xavier University, I
Mm-hmm.
was I worked as a secretary of
Okay.
the president of the director of RIMCO, which is Research Institute for Mindanao Culture,
Okay.
Father Madigan. So he's from New York. So
Okay.
all this time I was in Xavier, I was exposed to the Jesuit priests who are from the United States.
Okay.
So when I was working with Father Madigan,
Mm-hmm.
um, he was doing a research on uh, um, Dr. Billing Cummings, I think,
Okay.
rhythm method of birth control.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's
It's a
very
method
interesting.
of birth control.
One of my co-workers was the brother of Pilita Corrales. His
Oh.
name was Ramon Corrales.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because Pilita is from Cebu. I mean,
Yes, the famous Filipino, not Filipino,
sing. Yeah.
Filipino?
Yeah. Pilita
Oh,
is
Filipino
Filipino. I
singer.
mean, Spanish descent, but she's Filipino,
Yes.
just like,
Yeah, so I was very close. There was only like or five of us in the office, and
mm-hmm.
we were all taking our master's degree. Some of them were
Okay.
taking their doctorate degree.
Okay.
So Dr. Father Madigan was doing his research on the Catholic birth control based on ovulation,
Mm-hmm.
I was also asked to be a subject of his research.
Okay.
So every day I have to take my temperature.
Okay.
It was a very interesting office because they did all kinds of research.
Wow. That's
So that's
interesting.
how I got
And
exposed to research.
well,
And
what year was this going on? Was this in the
oh,
60s or
I
70s?
started, yes, because I finished my college in um, actually when I finished college, I was only 17 years old
Oh, wow.
because I don't know, maybe my parents put me in school 5, and then in college, in the Philippines, we are so
Mm-hmm.
fortunate that if our parents can afford it, they send us to school, to
Right.
college, so I don't have to work.
Mm-hmm.
So I finished my college when I was 17 and a half.
Wow.
And then I
That's
went to,
amazing. Because
I went,
people graduate from high school at 18 and finish college
yes,
at 17.
that's why when I first started teaching, I was teaching in Cagayan. Oh, I'm shifting from one thing to another. I
Mhm.
was um okay. Let's go back to
Okay.
to my
Your book
my
or
book.
your thesis.
Mhm. So I don't know how I was reading, I think, of the different kinds of epics because a lot of people were researching on epic literature at that time. So
Okay.
I came across the Guman, and there is no written record of the Guman so far.
When
So
can
I
you
asked
explain
my
what Guman
advice.
is? I mean, is that the name of the tribe or
No,
it's
the name that's the name of their song, of their epic.
okay.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
the name of their epic. The name
Okay.
of the tribe is Subanon,
Subanon.
Subanon,
Okay.
or Nun sometimes.
Okay. Subanon.
So
Okay.
that's a very big group in the Philippines.
Okay.
And in fact, where I went for my research was an island called Lapuyan,
Okay.
Lapuyan.
And where's that
And
at?
uh, it is near
Okay.
Pagadian City now.
Okay.
And it's very interesting. It's very interesting because um, there was a lot of American missionaries there,
Okay.
and a lot of the Subanos speak English.
Mm.
So that's one of their dialects there, English. So very
Mm-hmm.
interesting group.
Wow. Very interesting because I don't know about that part of the Philippines that much.
Yes, and
So okay,
so
go ahead.
I would say I spent maybe 6 months there,
Okay.
6 months, and I was very lucky and fortunate that I was offered a scholarship by the Ford Foundation for thesis writing.
Mhm.
So they gave me a good well, at the time it was a very good
Mhm.
amount. It
Yes.
enabled me to stay there, pay for my expenses, pay for those people that helped me,
Okay.
and but I was given a deadline. A
Okay.
deadline. Uh, Fortunately or unfortunately, I got married in 1971, and
Okay.
so in 1972 I was pregnant when I was doing this thesis. So I decided, oh, I don't want to finish this anymore.
So you didn't finish the thesis at all, or you
I
just put
didn't
it on
want to.
hold?
I did not want to, but then Ford Foundation wrote me and said, if you do not finish this project, we are going to stop our scholarship of future students at Xavier University. So that is like a challenge to me. I could not do that.
Yes.
So I was this pregnant woman doing this research, walking through the mountains there, and
Mm-hmm.
finally I finished it. I
Okay.
finished, and at the time, there's no cell phone, there is no good recording device.
Right.
So I was bringing this big tape recorder.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. You're probably too young to remember that.
I do remember. Remember,
Uh, and you have
I'm in my
to,
60s. The tape recorder where you press, go like that.
yes, press, and then you use a tape
Yeah,
that if it gets tangled, you're in bad luck
yeah.
because you have to redo everything.
Oh, okay, okay,
So that's how I did that thesis.
okay. So you finally finished the thesis then?
I finished it. So the first step was recording it,
Right.
and since I do not speak Subanon,
Okay.
uh, so Subanon sounds like Cebuano, right? I don't
Okay.
speak Subanon, so I have to have somebody translate it for me.
Oh,
And
okay.
I recorded, I transcribed the translation,
Hmm.
and then have that submitted. It's very interesting. I would like to talk about how they chanted. Now,
Okay.
since the chanting, call it chanting, because
Okay.
it's like a it's a musical history rendition.
Okay.
So they sing a
Hmm.
story. It's like a ballad, we have
Right.
one very popular ballad that we have here is Beowulf. You heard of
Beowulf.
Beowulf?
Yeah.
Beowulf in English literature.
Yeah. The
So
Belgian.
it's
Yeah.
chanted, and it is interesting that they chant it at nighttime.
Mm.
But I did my research during daytime. So what the chanter did is he blindfolded.
So he
So
pretended it was
it's like
nighttime.
dark. So
Oh,
he has
okay.
to do it in darkness, and so that he can probably focus on
Okay.
his chanting.
Okay. So he just, everything was through memory, or
Yes,
he
through memory. So remember, there is no record of the Guman when I first started it.
okay.
So that is why my thesis, although it was hardly and not perfectly done,
Okay.
it was significant because it was the first ever recorded of the Guman epic.
Right. Right.
Yeah. At the same time, there was another student also, and I think she is from, in fact, I know her.
Mm.
Her last name is Ochotorena,
Mm.
and I think she also did a research on the Guman, but I
Hmm.
did it first, and then she made a commentary my of my story,
Hmm.
and just recently I was surfing through the internet. I
Okay.
saw another person who did another study, and
Okay.
unfortunately, I don't have his name right on top of my head, but um, he did it 11 years ago. So
Okay.
remember, my thesis was done 51 years ago,
Okay.
and he did another study 11 years ago, and he
Okay.
mentioned my name
Okay. Because he used you as a
uh,
as
as a
what do you-
reference.
as a reference.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so it's 11 years ago. I saw it in one of the websites. So I
Okay.
tried to make a comment um, on his uh, um, writing, and
Yes.
he did not respond to me. So I tried to look at all those people that made comments, and there was one woman, and they seem to be related
Okay.
because this writer is also a Subanon from the tribe.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I saw one of the girls of the women who responded to him
Mhm.
in Subanon language. So
Okay.
I wrote her, and a few days ago she responded to me.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
so because I don't know why I never even look back on
Mhm.
my thesis for the ever since I came to America. I
Okay.
never look
Well,
back to it.
sometimes you do some work, you forget about it, and you
Yes.
never know that that's the
Mhm.
basis of other people's work too. So,
In the Philippines, there was
uh-huh.
only one time that was I talk about it. I was
Okay.
invited to be a speaker in one of the national conventions held in Tuguegarao, Cagayan.
Okay.
So I was one of the speakers, and I was I was talking about my thesis then.
Okay.
And I think it was a convention of uh, National Convention of Literature Teachers in the
Okay.
Philippines.
Okay.
So when I came to America, I never even looked back
Mm-hmm.
until one day, listen to this, I saw an article featuring a play entitled Goman, the Epic of the Malinao. It was written by a student who made a play, a live play. It's in
Mm-hmm.
YouTube of
Yes.
my Goman. Although she never acknowledged the source of the Goman,
Wow.
it was exactly how I wrote it in my thesis.
Wow.
So what I did is I Googled her again,
Mm-hmm.
and then I asked her where she is. She never responded. But
Mm-hmm.
one of the people who made a comment there, because the play she presented was very short. It was only like one, maybe 10 minutes
Mm-hmm.
or less.
Okay.
So it was like bitin. So
Okay.
one of the listeners or the viewers said, "Hey, finish this. We would like to know what happened to this girl and this and that."
Okay. So there's an interest out there. People
Yeah,
are.
so I said, "Oh, somebody's interested.
Mm-hmm.
I better be interested myself."
Exactly. Exactly.
So I wrote that person who made the comment,
Mm-hmm.
but it was so long ago, she never replied. So that made me start going through all articles. And then I found out that my thesis was included in the anthology of literature in the university in Japan.
Mm.
So it's getting more interested. And then
Yes.
prior to that, it's also included in the anthology of, I don't know what the exact title now, in the University of the Philippines in Diliman, Quezon
Oh,
City.
wow. Did,
So I haven't gotten in touch with any of those schools, but I'm planning to do that. I would like to offer, if they just fly me there, I'd like
Mhm.
to talk about it,
Yes,
but I'm
yes,
still alive.
yes. I mean, that's one of the legacy that you made, basically. I got a question.
Yes,
When you finish your thesis, did you have to defend it? Did you have to
yes.
present it and
I had to
defend it?
defend it, and I passed.
Okay,
Thanks God, I passed.
okay.
And I was and then Jesuit, the Jesuits or Xavier University asked
Mhm.
me if I could just donate the book to them. So probably they'll get royalty. They made it into a book. No, yeah, a book. It's
Mhm.
called, it is featured in one of the articles in a Jesuit journal called Kinaadman, which is means knowledge, right? Is that
Tina
correct?
Adnan?
Kinaadman, Kinaadman. Is that knowledge or what is
Adnan.
Kinaadman? Knowledge or intelligence?
Okay, Kina Adnan. What's the
It's
root
a
word for this? Kina Adnan.
Cebuano word, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
Cebuano word.
Oh, Kina Adnan. Yeah. Sort of knowledge. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So it is not so there's an excerpt. I
Okay.
think I think they have, I'm not very sure now, because when I Google here in America book libraries, I
Mm-hmm.
found a copy in I think in Connecticut,
Okay.
and they can loan it. But it is being sold now in
Okay.
Cellar Bookstore here
Okay.
in the United States.
Hmm.
Cellar, Cellar,
Yeah. Seller.
because I tried to buy one. I bought one long time ago.
Did you get credit for this? I mean, your name came out?
My name is there.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's Sterlinda Mendoza Malagar,
Okay.
which was my married name then.
Okay. Okay. I just want to make sure. Wow. Interesting. I got another question. Since you're in the US now, and a lot of people would like to find out, so when did you come over to the US and why did you
Oh,
decide to come over?
I came here in the United States in 1985, May 1985.
Okay. So you just basically decided to migrate or
Um, it's a long story, maybe
okay.
another section of that
Yeah, well,
talk
yeah.
about.
Okay.
Not to. I was very happy and living a very good life in the
In the
Philippines.
Philippines.
But
Yes,
something
because
happened that made me decide I have to get out of the Philippines.
okay, okay. So
So
when
that's another section we can talk
yeah,
about
maybe we
later.
can do another part because
Sure.
on Zoom, I only got 30 minutes actually to and then I know your life is so interesting. I could finish a couple of hours. So what I'll do is I'll split it, I
Do
mean 30
another
minutes now.
section of this.
Huh?
We
Yeah.
can do another segment later on.
Yes, yes, yes. So we could go more in
And
depth.
then maybe at that time, Mario, when we do the second segment, I can mention all the resources. So if
Yes.
anybody would like to, I want to give credit to those people I mentioned where
Okay.
I found where they gave me credit on where they used my book to write
Okay.
theirs.
Okay.
And I'd like to mention them, and I'd like to mention this woman that I'm talking now,
Yes.
and she lives in. She's retired now, but she was president of an association of Subanos in the
In
Philippines.
the Philippines.
Yes. In
Okay.
fact, I told her if I have time when I go back this year, when I
Mhm.
go home this year, I'd like to meet her because she mentioned that she knows the person that chanted my guman,
Okay.
and
I got a question for you.
she
The tribe, the Subano tribe, what is their the religion? Are they Muslim, Christian, or they have their own
they are Muslims.
Muslim? Okay. Okay.
Yes.
I was just
They
curious.
have very interesting life. They are called the milder, they're not aggressive. The non-aggressive Muslims.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, every people there's aggressive Christians too, and aggressive, so
There's aggressive Filipino and
aggressive
non-aggressive
Filipino and
Filipino.
they're non-aggressive Filipinos. Exactly. So, so um very interesting.
Thank you for
Yeah,
inviting me.
yeah. Well, I got another one last question. For young Filipino out there who's just starting in life, is there can you give them like a message, just even just a short message, so
Yes,
to help them out,
yes.
Okay,
Because I am now an interpreter, I
okay,
interpret all over the country,
okay,
all over America, and sometimes abroad. I
okay,
was hired one time to interpret in Africa and
okay.
in South America. I would
Oh,
like parents to not to do what I did. Because when my kids arrived here, I said, no more Filipino language. You have to learn the way Americans speak. So
oh,
none of them learn how to speak Cebuano or Tagalog,
and
uh, except my oldest one who married
mhm.
a Tagalog. And then that's how he learned how to speak Tagalog, but not really conversational.
So you
So I
thought that
would like
was a
to
mistake.
encourage, yeah, I
That
would like to
people should,
encourage parents to speak this one or the Tagalog language at home
yes,
because kids can learn English no matter what you do.
yes,
Even if you put
yes,
them in the closet, they will learn
yes,
English,
yes,
but they will refuse to speak the dialect if you don't talk to them. They all understand because I see a lot of young Filipinos here who are, I say, do you speak the language? I can understand, but I cannot speak. So
okay,
you have to encourage them to speak. And then I would like to encourage them to be an interpreter
okay,
because when I arrived here, Mario, I didn't even know there's the need for an interpreter
okay.
because we speak English. But now I realize that a lot of people can go to jail because they didn't understand the language.
Exactly. Okay. We're running out of time. So thank you very
Okay,
much. We'll do a
so
second
that's what
segment, okay?
love the Philippines, love your language is what I would like to tell them. And if you make a research, go to back to the Philippines. It's a very rich country.
Yes, very good advice. Very, very good advice. Again, thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome.
I'm gonna send you an email. We can schedule a second one.
Sure,
Okay.
anytime for
Thank
you.
you.
Okay,
Okay.
regards to